So Donald Trump's cabinet, he's president-elect. He mentioned a lot of people in his acceptance speech. Rudy Giuliani, leaked by the Trump campaign before the election to NBC News, likely to be Attorney General, the head of the Justice Department. So that kind of injustice coming your way. Newt Gingrich, Secretary of State. The war. Okay. And now, they mentioned as Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, who was a big supporter of his, as Defense Secretary. They're going to have to get an exception for that because he actually has not been out of the service for 7 years. You have to be out of the service for 7 years before you can serve as the civilian Secretary of Defense. But they could get an exception, they probably will. If not, he'll be national security. So those are almost locked in, right? Interesting curveball, Reince Priebus, who's the only guy that he actually pulled up to the mic in a bizarre move that we've never seen before.
I think he wanted to make him say something nice about him. That's
He said, talk about me.
Yeah.
Say nice things about me. This is my wedding.
Yeah.
Talk about me.
Yeah. And Reince was like, what? What's going on here? Next president of the United States, can I get back to my seat? So there's speculation that he's going to be chief of staff. Could be a way of reaching out to the Republican establishment, and Reince was a good, loyal soldier. So he becomes a made man. So he's going to get something, but it might be chief of staff. Okay, and Reince Priebus was the head of the RNC, so that seat is going to get vacated. The word out of Trump campaign is the person who's going to replace him as the head of the RNC, Corey Lewandowski, current CNN contributor. Yes, former campaign chief for Donald Trump. He's got to take care of his capos, right? And so he's going to bring them back all of his lieutenants and put them in charge. Jeff Sessions, I don't know what role he's going to have, but he's a senator from Alabama. Certainly they won't have any trouble putting another Republican into his seat in Alabama, so that's not an issue. So what is he going to get? I don't know, but buckle up.
You'd think.
But he's going to get something, no question about it. Chris Christie. Chris Christie, whose top aides were just convicted, literally less than a week ago, is the head of his transition team, in charge of picking people. The last people he picked were convicted this week. Okay, so he's in charge of the transition team. Oh, the level of corruption they'll have in those picks. It'll break records. Right? So if you don't know the history of Chris Christie, and it's not just about Bridget and all that stuff. And in his own state, he now has a popularity ranking of 21%. Because he's in charge of picking the next president's staff. Okay, that guy who's despised in his own state, and the way that he became a U.S. attorney in the first place, which is how he rose up and became a politician, is by being a bundler and organizing donors for George W. Bush. Chris Christie, you think the donors are your friends? He was born in the donors. So that was his political birth, was through the bundling donors for George W. Bush, and then would get, return favors, etc. That's Chris Christie. After the transition team, what's he going to be? Obviously, an important part of the administration, part of the cabinet. So you got that. Chris Christie gambled. He gambled, man. At the time, they thought he was crazy to back Trump and humiliate himself, looking, behind him like a creep, and then getting sent off on the plane. Off you go, right? Get in the plane, go. But it worked out. He's going to have an enormously important. He already has an enormously important job as the head of the transition team. He'll have a giant role in the Donald Trump administration. God help us all. Okay, and the list goes on. It doesn't get any better from there. So then his top foreign policy advisor was John Bolton. What's John Bolton going to do? Are they going to put him back in the UN? He was George Bush's UN ambassador. Couldn't get confirmed. Bush put him in there anyway.
We haven't mentioned the deal with Iran. What happens with that deal?
Oh my God.
Obamacare. They're going to repeal it on day one.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so... no.
The Iranian nuclear program could be restarted.
Look, guys, if they rip up that deal with Iran, which is what they've said over and over again, but I actually have some hope that they won't. John Bolton will push for it. Everybody will push to rip it up. But Trump might be like, yeah, I said it was the worst deal. We're going to renegotiate. And no, he'll rip it up. Because he's going to want to prove that he's a better negotiator. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. So...
This is why I'm here.
Yeah.
What about Rush Limbaugh? Where will he be in the cabinet?
But by the way, no, that's, it's a joke, but it's not, because Rush and Trump are great friends. Probably not, because he's too rich and comfortable in Palm Beach, etc. With Sean Hannity? So earlier somebody was joking about how Sean Hannity could be chief of staff. Oh, no, that's enormously possible. Number two, chief of staff is not out of the question. People were joking about it earlier. It's not out of the question. No, for Sean Hannity. Yeah. So
for Sean Hannity?
Yeah. Yes.
How about Megyn Kelly? Will she get a position?
No.
I'd say 2/3 of the month.
Roger Ailes.
Yeah. No, they had a falling out of them.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, so sad day for Roger Ailes. Now, we haven't even gotten to Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon says he's going to go back to Breitbart. This guy is fomented the alt-right, etc. And in a cadre of deplorables, he's right up there. Oh, the power he's going to have, and how they're going to run roughshod. I don't know how they're going to use it. I don't know if he's going to be in the government or outside the government. But you think Trump will empower his media friends? By the way, he did that with the National Enquirer. He would print stories in the National Enquirer nonstop and use the media that way. Now, wait till you see when he's got real power. That was just this goofball Donald Trump, right? So then we're not done yet. Roger Stone, hatchet man. He's got Nixon tattooed on his back, literally, okay? And so now they're going to let him run loose. Oh my God, God knows what position he's going to get, inside or outside, and the damage he's going to do. One of their biggest allies in the press, Alex Jones. Maybe he could be press secretary.
That'll be great. Maybe
Please do that. Please do that.
Maybe he can do press conferences, naked.
You want the same old mainstream media stuff? Hell no! I hear you, brother. That's why we got a whole new show on the Young Turks called Aggressive Progressive. Members get the whole show. Do it now. tytnetwork.com/join.
All right, unbelievable day in Washington, unbelievable day in America. We have basically a coup happening right now, the Defense Department being involved does make it almost literally a coup attempt here. So I'm going to explain all that in a second, but the vice president is in hiding from his own president's supporters. This is the absolute height of insanity. We're going to have all the pictures and the video for you guys live on the show tonight. You guys know every day, Monday through Friday, 5:30, we have the interviews, and the 6 to 8 o'clock is the main show. We've got all the elements there for you guys to see, because it's amazing. The house has been barricaded, guns are drawn. ABC News reporting that shots have been fired inside the Capitol. There's video of a woman being carried out covered in blood. The protests have gotten violent, very violent. This is amazing. Donald Trump has turned America into a banana republic. He said he was going to make it great. He's brought us from first to worst in so many categories. We're the worst in coronavirus cases and deaths. Now we've got a literal coup attempt happening inside the Capitol. This is the kind of damage to America's reputation that is irreversible. So right now, guys, the whole world is talking about, have they done a coup in America? It's unbelievable. They're swarming inside the Capitol. The right wing is right now. By the way, guys, yes, and then there's more for members at the end of every day. So I just noticed Christian Durlich joining by hitting that join button below. That makes all the difference. We're trying to get you as much news as we can throughout the day. Anna did a live, I'm doing a live, and obviously the main show's coming up at 6 o'clock, where we're going to have all of the videos and pictures for you, because it's stunning. Rudy Giuliani goes out there and says, we're going to do trial by combat. In the middle of this insanity, and then those protesters that showed up took him at his word. They're like, all right, let's do combat. So the police, totally unprepared. The right wing said they were coming. They threatened violence. I mean, there's a picture of just folks in military get-ups, walls of security in the Capitol, in the same place for a Black Lives Matter protest. And now they just let the right wing walk right into the Capitol. And And they've got military fatigues on. And they're not military, but they got the fatigues on. The house door has been barricaded. Guns have been drawn. We'll show you the pictures. We'll show you the video. This is absolute madness. And Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley were in the middle of encouraging this kind of anger and reaction when they had to be escorted out of the building or inside the building. It's unclear where the senators are hiding. It's unclear where the vice president has been taken. The vice president said at the beginning of the day, I will do my constitutional duty and no more. I have no constitutional authority to overturn the election, which is the most obvious thing in the world. No one in the right wing has ever read the Constitution. They don't know anything about the Constitution. In fact, the right wing in this country hates the Constitution. They hate this country. They hate our democracy. Look at what they're doing now. They're trying to overturn the results of a democratically conducted and approved and certified election. Every court, including Trump appointees, including judges that are all Republicans in some of the courts, said, you have no evidence. You're lying. It's not true that there was any fraud in the election. And the right-wing militia, zealot protesters, and honestly, most of the Republican voters are like, nope, I don't care. I don't care. I just want power. I don't like democracy. I don't like America. And remember, these are the same guys that conservatives in this country that declared civil war against America because they didn't like the idea of democracy. They didn't like the idea of equality. They didn't like the idea of justice. Those are all literal. They said, I don't want equality for black people. I want them to be my slaves forever. I don't want to do my own work. I'm a bum, is what the Confederates said. And I want to oppress people for the rest of my life because I don't believe in America. That's why they declared war against America. And right now, in essence, they're doing the same exact thing. In fact, now they've got Confederate flags inside the Capitol. They raided the Capitol. Shots are fired. They're going in there with Confederate flags. They couldn't do this during the Civil War over 150 years ago. But congratulations, right-wing in America, you did it. You got a Confederate flag with violent militia, right-wing militia, inside America's Capitol. You've been trying to do it for over 150 years to topple America and our democracy because you cared more about your power, you cared more about oppressing other people, you cared more about being vicious to people that don't look like you than you ever cared about justice or equality. You hate the idea of equality, and hence you hate the idea of America. These are absolute facts. We still, by the way, have people like Chuck Todd coddling them on television. Yes, most of the anchors are out.
It would be really great if we could be covered fairly by the media. The media is the biggest problem we have as far as I'm concerned. Single biggest problem. The fake news and the big tech. Big tech is now coming into their own. We beat them 4 years ago. We surprised them. We took them by surprise. And this year, they rigged an election. They rigged it like they've never rigged an election before. And by the way, last night they didn't do a bad job either, if you notice. I'm honest, and I want to thank you. It's just a great honor to have this kind of crowd and to be before you. And hundreds of thousands of American patriots are committed to the honesty of our elections and the integrity of our glorious republic. All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing. And stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough.
When I'm hit, I always get up. When no one is watching, I get up. When the lights are off and the critics are loud, when I have every reason to give in, I get up.
Will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about. And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. Today I will lay out just some of the evidence proving that we won this election, and we won it by a landslide. This was not a close election. You know, I say sometimes jokingly, but there's no joke about it. I've been in 2 elections. I won them both, and the second one I won much bigger than the first, okay? Almost 75 million people voted for our campaign, the most of any incumbent president by far in the history of our country. 12 million more people than 4 years ago. And I was told by the real pollsters, we do have real pollsters, they know that we were going to do well and we were going to win. What I was told, if I went from 63 million, which we had 4 years ago, to 66 million, there was no chance of losing. Well, we didn't go to 66, we went to 75 million, and they say we lost, we didn't lose. And by the way, does anybody believe that Joe had 80 million votes? Does anybody believe that? He had 80 million computer votes. It's a disgrace. There's never been anything like that. You could take third world countries, just take a look. Take third world countries, their elections are more honest than what we've been going through in this country. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Even when you look at last night, they were all running around like chickens with their heads cut off with boxes, and nobody knows what the hell is going on. There's never been anything like this. We will not let them silence your voices. We're not going to let it happen. Not going to let it happen. Thank you. And I'd love to have, if those tens of thousands of people would be allowed, the military, the Secret Service,